Good afternoon, friends. Chief Meteorologist Shane Smith here, alongside meteorologist Brandon Orr and meteorologist Allison Rogers, as we are tracking a line of strong to severe thunderstorms moving into eastern Kentucky, and they are packing some pretty strong winds across the region right now. Seeing wind gust reports upwards of 60 miles per hour. So let's take a look at what we have going on right now as far as our active warnings on Pinpoint Doppler radar. You can see we have an active warning for Estill, Jackson, and Lee, Powell, and Wolfe counties until 4:15. That's our newest warning that just came out here within the last few minutes. And also we have a warning just off to the east of that where we are seeing some more strong winds rolling through some other counties in the coverage area, including over into Morgan County, Magoffin County, portions of Johnson County, and that warning goes until 3:45. Let's see, that's Johnson County, Fleming County, Menifee, Powell, Montgomery, Morgan, Elliott, Bath, Wolfe, Rowan, and Magoffin until 3:45. So right now what we are seeing is a very strong line of storms moving into eastern Kentucky, coming in from the north. It has been developing all day long, started back up into portions of Indiana and Illinois, and has worked its way down to the south and the east all day long. And in its wake, we have seen several reports of wind damage into Indiana and Ohio, back into northern Kentucky. We've seen some wind gusts upwards of 60, 65 miles per hour from this storm. And this entire line is moving to the south and the east at about 45 miles per hour. And the entire Sky Alert weather team has been tracking this line of storms all day and will continue to do so throughout the evening. We're going to toss it right now to meteorologist Brandon Orr, and he's been watching these storms all afternoon. Brandon, what do you think about this line of storms as they're moving in?
Well, Shane, the main threat with these is the damaging wind gusts. We've seen a history of quite a bit of wind damage up near Ohio and portions of Indiana a little bit earlier this morning. And Shane, this line of storms actually originated late last night. It's been going on for that long without dying off, and there's still a lot of unstable air out ahead of it to keep this line going as it moves through eastern Kentucky. So we do not expect it to weaken anytime soon. So that's why we're on air right now, is because it is producing widespread wind damage as it moves on through. Currently, as you can see there on radar, it's moving through portions of Rowan County over towards Bath and Montgomery. So next in line for this line of storms here within the next 30 minutes will be Elliott, Lawrence, Morgan, Menifee, Powell, and over towards Estill County. Not seeing any reports of any rotation within this right now. There are some weak areas of rotation from time to time. We had some tornado warnings earlier up near the Ohio River, but those have since expired. So right now, Shane, the main threat is the damaging wind gusts, and also some frequent cloud-to-ground lightning with this too as it pushes on through.
Yeah, quite a bit of lightning in these thunderstorms as they roll into eastern Kentucky, and that's one of the things we're concerned about with this line. You can see the leading edge of it has already crossed through Moorhead. We got a few renegade cells trying to pop out ahead of it into portions of northern Martin County, back over to Johnson County, just north of Paintsville. There's a decent little cell right now. If you're in Paintsville looking off to the north and the west over towards Moorhead, you are seeing quite a bit of lightning with this cell right here. And this entire line is working to the south and east at about 45 miles per hour. And as Brandon said, this line has a history of producing wind damage and very heavy rain. So we have a couple of threats we're looking at tonight. Brandon, if you can pull up the threat graphic for me. Our main concerns tonight are the wind and the heavy rain. Damaging winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour are possible with tonight's thunderstorms. And not only that, we also have the flooding threat. We have seen several inches of rain over the last 2 or 3 weeks here in eastern Kentucky. We have been inundated with rain. It seems like we've hardly had a dry day in about the last, I'd say 3 weeks or so. The ground's saturated, and we have 2 to 3 rounds of strong to severe storms heading our way over the next 24 to 48 hours. So that puts us at a high risk for flooding. Add in the fact we've got the wind threat from the thunderstorms, and then you have a smaller threat of hail, and I can't rule out an isolated tornado or two tonight or tomorrow. This is going to be a long, drawn-out, severe weather threat. We should see some breaks in the action. It's not going to be nonstop the next 36 hours or so. We'll see one round right now through the early part of the evening. We should catch a break. Then we'll see another round during the overnight hours early tomorrow morning, and another round Tuesday evening. So let's go back to Pinpoint Doppler radar and just show you all the counties under that warning. In fact, let's broaden out the view and just show it's not just here in eastern Kentucky. This line of storms is stretching all the way from Ohio down into West Virginia, through Kentucky, back into Indiana. So this is a long line of storms, and almost every county in the path of this line is under some kind of severe thunderstorm warning right now. And you can also see a few flash flood warnings back off to the west. So heavy rain being laid down by these thunderstorms, rainfall rates upwards of 1 to 2 inches per hour possible with these storms. And they are continuing to work off to the south and the east. Now, folks, we're going to be covering this storm system all throughout the afternoon and evening. And if you have pictures of the storms or video and can send it safely, don't do it during the storms. Wait till they've passed and then send it if you can do so safely. Send them to us, pics@WYMT.com, or tag us on Twitter @WYMT, or post them on the WYMT Facebook page. Meteorologist Allison Rogers is going to be following social media. She's going to be tracking the storm with your help tonight. And we're also going to be live on Periscope with behind-the-scenes video of what's going on in the Weather Center as we track these storms. And right now what I want to do is take our weather cam over in Prestonsburg at the Stonecrest Golf Course. The storm system not quite to Prestonsburg just yet. Still off to the north, but you can see those clouds are beginning to build. It is beginning to darken there a bit. And Brandon, this is looking like it could be a pretty potent storm once it rolls into Prestonsburg here within the next hour or so.
And that's right. That's why you want to stay tuned with us, because we'll see this live as it happens, as it passes over Prestonsburg, and we'll get it on this camera here. This faces right to the west, so we'll look right down that squall line that's moving on through. But on Pinpoint Doppler, the main question I'm getting right now is, when is it going to hit my town, and is it going to hit my town? And the line is so long, it's going to cover our entire viewing area. So no matter where you are in eastern Kentucky, you're going to be impacted by these lines of storms eventually, at least over the next several hours. And it's moving to the south and east fairly quickly in most locations. So you can see how fast it is diving on off towards the south. I'm looking at 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible in some of these thunderstorms, mainly as they push on to the south and east at around 55 miles per hour. So you can see where it's located. We have Shane running radar for us, and if we can zoom in a little bit, it's located from Ashland all the way back west to portions of Lexington metro area as well, getting hit with some hefty storms right now. All of it's moving to the south and east at around 55 miles per hour. So you can see some of these town names on the bottom of your screen around Kingston, 352. Right now it's pretty close to Wrigley, Richmond at 343. So it's pushing to the south and east fairly quickly. And this is where the heaviest of the winds are, right at the leading edge of this line, and the rain will quickly follow. So you'll get the strong, damaging wind gusts to 60 or 70 miles per hour, likely just before the rain even starts. And we're also getting some hefty lightning out of this, out ahead of it as well. This is zoomed in over West Liberty. You can see portions of Morgan County. Here's Rowan County. Moorhead is just behind our banner. So if you're in West Liberty, you're hearing the thunder, you may be getting some rain already, and the hefty winds are soon to follow here within the next 5 minutes. Sandy Hook already getting some of the strong wind gusts. Next in line, though, within the next 30 minutes, you'll get these strong wind gusts and the heavy rain is portions of Martin and Johnson counties. Lawrence County near Louisa already getting in on some very hefty rain. If we go on over to the west, you can see portions of Salyersville and northern Magoffin County can expect the strong damaging wind gusts in the next 30 minutes. Eventually, it will make it down towards Breathitt County. There's Jackson and Breathitt County. It's going to take around 30 to 45 minutes to get down there through the rest of the county. Farther to the west is Owsley County, Lee and Estill getting in on some of the hefty showers and thunderstorms in the next 30 to 45 minutes. If you're down near Pikeville, Hazard, on over towards London, you have about an hour or two before the storms make it down there. They are moving quickly, but it's going to take about an hour or two for the storms to make it that far south. But there's a lot of unstable air out ahead of this line, so these storms, we're not expecting them to weaken. They're still likely will contain 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts as they move to the south and east. Look how warm we got during the day today. We saw a lot of sunshine. Into the upper 80s, low 90s there along the Tennessee border. That's why we're expecting it to strengthen as it continues to pushes to the south and east, Shane. But there's also that flash flooding threat that we've been watching, right?
Yeah, that's right, Brandon. We are continuing to see the chances of flash flooding increase. In fact, We just had a new flash flood warning issued up into Rowan County. That includes portions of Elliott County as well. That goes until 6:45, and also the entire coverage area under a flash flood watch until late Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning over into our West Virginia counties and down in the panhandle of Virginia. So as we said earlier, folks, this is a multifaceted storm system. We have the wind and the lightning we're dealing with right now, as well as the heavy rain. But this flooding threat continues all the way into Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. But right now, the flooding threat back up into Rowan County with that new flash flood warning that's going until 6:45 for portions of Rowan County. We're going to switch Pinpoint Doppler back over to reflectivity mode, what you traditionally see, and take a look at that storm. As you can see, plenty of heavy rain right on top of the city of Moorhead. If we can, we're going to zoom in on that storm and examine it as it moves from Rowan County on into Morgan County. I've driven that road several times there between Moorhead and West Liberty, and there's a lot of heavy rain through there. Those fields north of West Liberty flood quite easily, and that could also cause some issues with that heavy rain moving into northern portions of Morgan County. So no flood warning for Morgan County just yet, but with that heavy rain moving in, I would be very leery of the potential of some quick rising water up into northern Morgan County, the southern end of Rowan County. Right now that warning cuts off right around just south of Moorhead. Looks like about 2 or 3 miles south of town, but I have a sneaking suspicion if that heavy rain continues, if we don't see more of these warnings develop off to the south and the east. Now, a lot of you have been asking what is going to be happening with Mountain News First at 4. We will take that as normal. We'll break into it as necessary. We've got about 20 minutes before we get into Mountain News First at 4. But right now, we just wanted to give you the heads up that this intense line of thunderstorms with a history of producing wind damage into portions of Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, and northern Kentucky is now making its way into southern and eastern Kentucky. And we may have some power outages later on. I haven't seen any just yet, but it would not surprise me with wind gusts of 60 miles per hour, not to mention the amount of lightning we're seeing with these thunderstorms. There is a terrific amount of lightning with these storms. A very prolific lightning maker, this line of storms is, and that could definitely cause some issues with the power grid as we go throughout the evening. So that's something we'll be keeping a very close eye on. We want to broaden out the view right now, show you where some of the more impressive cells are right now. The first one is just out ahead of the main line. That is just to the northwest of Paintsville right now. We'll zoom in on it, and you can see we have that thunderstorm warning there for portions of Johnson County. That goes for up until 4 o'clock. So that storm system 3:45, and there's that new one that just came down. I was expecting them to do that any second. They're putting this well out in advance, but that does include portions of Johnson County, Floyd County, Elliott County, Magoffin, Martin, Menifee, Montgomery, Morgan, Powell, Rowan, and Wolfe County. That goes until 4:15 now, this new severe thunderstorm warning, as this entire line is moving down. And it would not surprise me here in the next little bit if we don't get another warning back off to the west over towards Breathitt County and Owsley County as that line is continuing to dive to the south. Our friends over at the National Weather Service in Jackson doing a great job getting these warnings out ahead of this storm to give you plenty of heads up that they are heading your way. Now this line, it's moving quick, about 45 to 50 miles per hour. That's not the fastest I've ever seen, but that's about as fast as you can travel safely along a lot of the roads through here. So that's about as fast as a car can safely go. So you know that thing is moving at a pretty decent clip. And that's also an indicator when they're moving that fast that they have that potential of really cranking up those gusty winds, Brandon.
That's right. And you talked about the flash flooding threat. Let's head on over to our camera over in Rowan County in Moorhead State, which is underneath that flash flood warning that continues for portions of Moorhead, at least for the next little bit. You can see here it expires at around 6:45. There's also some big time outages going on there in Rowan County. So far, Kentucky Power reporting a little over 1,000 power outages. In fact, 1,100 or so power outages just in Rowan County alone, because they already seen that strong gusty winds move through. And if we switch over to our second weather computer, you can see how much rainfall has already fell over portions of Rowan County, around 2.5 inches so far. And a lot of that came within in just the past hour. So 2 to 3 inches of rain an hour, Shane. That's a lot coming down at once. That's why they had that flash flood warning out, and I suspect we'll see some more of those as that line continues to push through.
That's right, Brandon. And one of the things I want to remind folks is, when we're talking about the how much rain has fallen, it's hard to visualize an inch of rain, but when you actually break it down, you take 1 inch of rain over 1 square mile, that's about 17 million gallons of water, a little bit more than that. So we've seen 2.5 times that, over 34 million, going over 40 into 45 million territory range. That many gallons of water per square mile in this little area of green north of Moorhead in Rowan County. That is a lot of water, folks. And you have to remember, most of eastern Kentucky, very mountainous terrain, very hilly terrain. Even that far to the north, all that water will run down into the valleys. So that's why we see so much flash flooding here in eastern Kentucky. And that's why we're a very flood-prone area. It doesn't take a lot of water to cause those creeks and streams to rise because there's so many of them. So that's the first main threat right now, is the flooding is up into the northern end of Rowan County. Now, I suspect we'll see more of that heavy rainfall as we go back to regular pinpoint Doppler radar, and that storm system continues to work its way off to the south and the east at about 45 miles per hour. Once again, just some very prolific lightning with the storm. Sandy Hook and West Liberty both taking it on the chin right now. Let's zoom into there, show what's going on with pinpoint Doppler.
In fact, Shane, over there, you were just talking about West Liberty. We had a station there report a 51 mile per hour wind gust. So we're still seeing some pretty severe wind gusts within Morgan County there.
Yeah, that's a very strong wind gust. Was that from the Mesonet side over?
Correct.
Yeah, the Kentucky Mesonet side in Morgan County near West Liberty. A 51 mile per hour wind gust. That is some pretty potent wind, folks. And here's the other thing we have to remember. With all that rain we've seen over the last 2 or 3 weeks, the soil is very loose right now. The ground is saturated. A 50, 60 mile per hour wind gust can cause some small to medium sized trees to topple over. The roots are just not firmly planted into the ground. The soil's too loose. So that's part of what's causing all the power outages. We just heard over 1,100 power outages into portions of Rowan County. That's from our friends over at Kentucky Power. And it would not surprise me if we see more power outages as this line continues to push off to the south. Paintsville, the beginning of that storm is moving in now in earnest. Over the next 10 to 15 minutes, you are going to experience heavy rain, gusty winds, a lot of lightning. You're seeing that right now into West Liberty, back over towards Campton, Beattyville. You folks, next 10 to 15 minutes, also going to see that. And we're also beginning to see a little cell, a renegade cell, pop up near Prestonsburg, out ahead of the main line. So not only are we dealing with that main squall line with the damaging wind threat, Brandon, but we're also seeing a few cells trying to pop out ahead, and that can sometimes cause some problems.
Yeah, they can. Some of those can be a little bit stronger than the main line in terms of hail is concerned as well. So we could be seeing some small hail. We had some reports of that up in northern Kentucky a little bit earlier. And we also have a new report, and this is outside of our viewing area slightly, but just shows how strong the wind gusts are within this line out in Montgomery County. That's right around Mount Sterling. Reported the dispatch there, trees down across the entire county. So it's pretty hefty, this line of thunderstorms that are starting to move through the area, and continuing with those 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts for just about our entire viewing area as we go through at least the next couple of hours.
Yeah, and this is a situation, folks, that you will definitely want to be very weather aware over the next couple of hours. What we are going to see is just almost everyone in the WYMT coverage area will see some severe winds roll through their region over the next, I'd say 2 to 3 hours, pretty much area-wide here in eastern Kentucky. There's likely going to be some power outages. There's likely going to be some trees down. That could cause some travel problems. Just be weather aware today. If you can stay in, go ahead and do so. If you can get home from work a little bit early, not a bad idea, especially in our southern counties. It's going to take about another hour or two for it to get down to Highway 80, the Howell Rogers Parkway. Right now, the worst of it near the Mountain Parkway. You can see a very strong line of storms from Paintsville back over to West Liberty, and this entire line pushing off to the south and the east at about 45 miles per hour. Beattyville, you're about to see a pretty powerful little storm roll through. Seeing some very strong wind gusts. Just looking at some of the behind-the-scenes data here, a lot of the Doppler Velocities showing 60-mile-per-hour winds in this line as it rolls in. So definitely a lot of strong wind with this line of storms. We heard about all the wind damage up near Mount Sterling, up into Montgomery County, trees down area wide. I suspect that is going to be a common theme with tonight's thunderstorms. Now, no reports of tornadoes, nor no tornado warnings with this line right now, but it would not surprise me if we get a quick spin up possible. I can't rule that out, but either way you slice it, folks, we're going to be seeing close to 60 to 70 mile per hour winds this afternoon and evening. If it's straight line wind or if it's a weak tornado, it's going to do damage. So you need to take these storms seriously tonight. You need to go ahead and, the kids are out near Salyersville, down into Jackson, the northern end of Breathitt County, southern end of Lee County into Owsley County, northern Pike County, back into Martin County, northern Johnson County, southern Johnson County, northern Floyd County, Magoffin County. Call the kids in. Let them come on in. You don't want to get caught out in this kind of a storm, folks. This a lot of lightning with these storms. Just remember, lightning is very, very dangerous. If you get caught near a tall object, that puts you at a greater risk. You do not want to be outside with the kind of lightning and the kind of wind that we're going to have coming in. Have we received any reports or pictures yet on the WYMT Facebook page?
Yeah, in fact, we already are getting some pictures, and we'll have that coming up here shortly. A lot of them are just some small hail that has been falling recently, but you can send your pictures in when it's safe to do so to our Facebook page at WYMT, or you could send them to pics, P-I-C-S, at WYMT.com. But Shane, I want to go through and give an update on where the thunderstorms are now because they're moving so fast. As soon as we, talk for 4 or 5 minutes, they're already in a completely different county. So let's head on over to Pinpoint Doppler, and you can see where they're going through, and we'll take you on a tour of the radar to see who is next in line, because you can see some of those thunderstorms will soon be approaching the bigger towns like Pikeville over towards Hazard and down towards London, and portions of Middlesboro down there along the Tennessee border. So areas that are seeing the thunderstorms right now are mainly along the Mountain Parkway. So portions of Martin and Johnson County, the rain is just starting to begin there. You can hear the thunder there in the background. The line of heavy winds is moving right through Lawrence County right now. So if you're in Martin and Johnson counties, prepare for as much as 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts here within the next 20 to 30 minutes likely. A little bit farther to the west, here's Magoffin County right around Salyersville. It's moving right through Magoffin County here within the next 30 to 45 minutes as well. Prestonsburg is within the severe thunderstorm warning. Basically, there's one for this entire line of thunderstorms. It will take at least until around 4:15, 4:30 to get there in portions of Prestonsburg, I think closer to around 4:30, and see some 60 mile per hour wind gusts there in northern Floyd County. Farther to the west, here's Breathitt County right around the city of Jackson. It will be around 30 to 45 minutes before it gets there. Hazard is a little bit farther to the south. I think you have around 5 o'clock or so till it gets to Hazard. It's going to take a little over an hour to make it down into portions of central Perry County. Farther to the west, we have Owsley County. Lee and Estill is getting thunderstorms right now, but Owsley, you have around 45 minutes before the storms or the heaviest of the winds really make it into your area, because the wind gusts that are downing a lot of these trees and power lines extend just in front of the heaviest of the rain. So you're going to notice the wind picking up right before the heaviest of the rain really starts to pick up as well. Farther to the west, here's Rockcastle County. London is a little bit farther to the south. London has around an hour and a half to 2 hours likely before the heaviest of the winds make it down there. In the Tennessee border, we have a few hours to get ready for these thunderstorms to bring in some of those loose items that will likely blow around. If you're wondering who is going to be impacted, everyone in our viewing area will be impacted. You can see the line extends all the way from central and western Kentucky all the way into West Virginia. So it's going to continue to move to the south and cover just about our entire viewing area. And behind it, we could see more thunderstorms as we go into the evening hours as well. Into the overnight, we could see a few of them move in from western Kentucky. So this is just one of several threats, and remember, we have more to deal with tomorrow. But for right now, we're watching these showers and thunderstorms push on through. We're going to get update on power outages as well. I know when we checked a short time ago, they were in excess of 1,000 homes and businesses without power in Rowan County alone, and I suspect that's going to really increase as these thunderstorms dive to the southeast at around 55 to 60 miles per hour. And again, that's the main threat with these. No tornado warnings. We're not seeing any tornadoes out of this line of thunderstorms right now. So that's some good news. The clouds may be scary looking, and it may look like there's a tornado, but we're not seeing any tornadoes out there right now. If we do see enough rotation and the National Weather Service thinks it's enough for a tornado warning, we'll surely let you know. Let's head on over to 3D Pinpoint Doppler, and you can see on our other weather computer how tall these thunderstorms are. They're extending in some cases in excess of 50,000 feet into the air. So don't be surprised with some of these thunderstorms that's popping up out ahead of the main line. Produces some small hail. We had some photos sent into our Facebook page a little bit earlier of some pea-sized hail sent in some locations around I-64 corridor. But for the main part, the main threat with some of these thunderstorms will be the strong damaging wind gusts as they move and build to the south and east. They're all building off that strong wind gust that's pushing out ahead of some of these showers and thunderstorms, Shane.
Yeah, that's right, Brandon. And we are going to continue to track these storms. Coming up here in about 5 minutes, we are going to begin Mountain News first at 4. We'll cover a little bit of the day's news, but we are going to continue to track this line of storms as it continues to push off to the south and to the east, about 45 to 50 miles per hour. We're going to switch back to a regular Pinpoint Doppler radar, and we will get that view reset for you. And you can see that the entire line of storms holding its strength very well, folks. It is not really weakening much as it pushes off to the south and the east. And part of the problem we have right now is it is just so hot and humid out there. We have temperatures generally running in mid to upper 80s, near 90 degrees near the Tennessee border. A lot of moisture in the air, and that will help to fuel these thunderstorms as they continue to work their way off to the south and the east. And we are seeing just quite a bit of wind with these storms and a lot of intense lightning. In fact, Doppler radar still indicating wind gusts in excess of 60 to 65 miles per hour in this entire line of storms as it works off to the south and the east. So before we go back into Mountain News first at 4, let's recap some of our active warnings right now. Brandon, if you can get a second, just pop me up the warning boxes. We'll start off with our far eastern warning right now. That one goes until 4:15. That includes 4:30 for Lawrence and Wayne County. And then as we work our way back to the west, Elliott, Bath, Floyd, Johnson, Magoffin, Martin, Menifee, Montgomery, Morgan, Powell, Rowan, and Wolfe counties. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning until 4:15. Estill, Jackson, Lee, Powell, and Wolfe counties until 4:15. We're continuing to track that line of storms as it works off to the south. Also, you can see it extends back into central Kentucky. So if you're going to be going up I-75 over the next, I'd say hour or two, just realize between London and Lexington, a very strong line of storms has developed. So if you know folks that maybe work in Lexington and commute on I-75 during the afternoon or evening, give them a heads up. The next hour or two along I-75 is not going to be a good commute. The worst of that storm just now south of Lexington, but it's still pushing through Madison County over towards Berea, Richmond right now, and eventually it'll work its way down to London. And that little cell in northern Laurel County and back into Jackson County also popping up and really starting to intensify a little bit. No warning on that just yet, but we're going to keep a close eye on that as that storm system continues to work off to the south and the east, and that little one bubbling up could cause some problems. But the main concern right now, the big line of storms, you can see it's now south of Louisa, just entering the northern end of Martin County, rolling through Johnson County, Floyd County. You're under the gun here in the next 20 to 30 minutes. That includes the city of Prestonsburg. That's mainly the northern end of Floyd County, down towards the southern end of Floyd County. Still going to be a bit before we get those storms on in here. Jackson, you're about 20 to 30 minutes away. Salyersville, the worst of the storms now beginning to barrel down on your neck of the woods. Those will work into the southern end of Magoffin County here in about the next 10 to 15 minutes. Lee County, you're taking it right on the chin right now. Hang in there. Still got about another 20 to 30 minutes before that storm rolls out of your neck of the woods. And if you're down in Owsley County, be on the lookout. That's heading your way. Same story back down towards Jackson County. You got that little cell right now in the southwest part of the county, but the main line where the strong wind is really concentrated, still about 30 to 40 minutes out. Now, if you're here in Hazard, London, Pikeville, still have about an hour. It's going to be around 5 o'clock, give or take a few minutes, when that line of storms will finally push off to the south and the east. This entire line is working down at about 45 miles per hour. We've got about a minute before we're going to go to Mountain News first at 4. And we will go ahead and we're going to go ahead and take a quick break before Mountain News first at 4, and then we will come back and have more on those storms as they continue to roll across southern and eastern Kentucky. Keep it here with WYMT.